Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Well, if you're a child, you shouldn't
What
probably
about in
be opening a
between?
business right now. No, no,
Teenagers.
don't.
Teenagers.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I said boys and girls, so I didn't know where you were going in between with.
This is my spoon.
Um, so we're so we're gonna break down how. Did you see the one where I
I
our,
saw it.
our
Yeah. Did you see? I'm like rubbing my face. I'm like, oh god, he's fucking. That's guys. That's Steve just brought out the spoon.
Yep. All right, boys. So we're gonna break down how to effectively call it maybe grow your business, improve your business. It's a very broad statement, but we're gonna dive into that here a little bit. But I guess real quick, Brandon, if you were gonna type into a search, and I'm gonna ask you the same question, Andrew,
Okay,
how
go ahead.
to improve my business, what are the two or three things that come top of mind to you that are maybe need to be improved upon? What's broken? Why are you asking this question in your mind?
I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is that the person asking probably wants to make more money, so they're just trying to see what tactics or strategies they can implement. And Google might pop out some stuff with like, what's your marketing like? What's your customer satisfaction like, and how you can improve that. That's what comes to mind right off the bat.
Okay, I like it. Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, if someone's looking up how to get better at business, the top thing that would usually prompt someone to Google that is going to be they're not making enough money. Period. It's just top line revenue. And if they're not making enough money, or if they are, then maybe they're not taking enough home, or maybe they're delinquent on certain invoices or bills or vendors, and so I would say the ability to make money and also the ability to keep that money solvent and in the business, or something that's useful as a capital source. So, yeah.
All
What about
right.
you?
I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to making more money. There may be
Mhm.
an essence of how do I make or generate the same amount of money or income and do less work would be the other way I might think about something. So call it an efficiency play to an extent.
Mhm.
Um, but I would agree that at the end of the day, if I'm looking to improve my business, on some level, I'm looking to generate more income personally once
Mhm.
all is said and done.
Mhm.
So I think every time I've sat here and asked myself, how do I improve my business? It's usually out of an attempt to grow the thing.
Mhm.
So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Agreed.
mean, so the first thing I'm going to throw out there in this endeavor is I'd be curious if the person at the end of the day, or as you're typing this in, or we're really investigating, call it improving my business. Do you know your numbers well? And I'm not saying in depth every single number of your business, maybe, but overarching. Do you have pretty well kept books? Are you understanding your overarching lead flow, your acquisition stats, and what your retention referral kind of systems might look like? What is all of that kind of showing you? And the first thing that I would be doing is looking to the data on where I need to go solve a problem. Because a lot of times we tend to just go down this road of I feel like I need to, and we tend to lean towards the idea that we need more leads, because we need more acquisition and we need more sales is the avenue we go down when you own a business. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I think 70% of the time it's probably accurate. At the end of the day, sales solves business problems. We know that,
Mhm.
but it also creates other problems. And the first thing that I would be looking at is, do I know my data? And if you don't know your data, you need to start digging and trying to track. Now, two situations are going to arise. First situation is you're going to go and try to start tracking data, but you have no way to get any historical data. You have no system that holds any information whatsoever, and it's just going to take time. So you're still going to have to pick something to dive into, because you can't just sit there and wait 60, 90 days before you try to solve the problem that you're facing. The other side of this is you can go dig through some of your systems. You have some website landing page data, you have some social media data, you have some payment processing data. You have certain things that you can at least go look at and start to pinpoint what your biggest opportunity is right now, or the thing you need to be looking at. So spend a day or two ripping that data apart and trying to make the best assumption you can. Now, you're better making decisions based upon 90 days of data versus a week's worth of data, and you're better making decisions based upon what the past 90 days looks like compared to the prior year. But trying to get the prior year's worth of data might be near impossible or take 2 weeks worth of time, and that might not be worth it. So point here is, if you have some data, put it together, go look at it. We have some brainstorming friends on the internet today, chat GPT, that you can start to say, hey, here's some of my information. What is this telling you? Give me your top 3 takeaways from the data, and then you know your business, and use that logic to then insert your emotion and experience to start making decisions. But the first thing, which is not the most sexy thing, is look at the data. If you don't have data, then we're going to move on to maybe what would be step 2, and start to identify of, hey, what am I going to actually work on? But that's kind of my first big throw out there. If you're not tracking data, start tracking data, because at some point in time you're going to want the data to look at. But Brandon, you run a business, you run a DJ business. If we were going to go, hey, we want to improve your business, right? And we've all established that that means we want Brandon to take home more money. That's what improve means in this kind of facet. What data or what blind spots of data do you have today? And then also, like, all right, here's the first thing that I would actually start working on in my business that is literally real right now.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's funny that you brought that up because that is something I've been working on this year, specifically because I would take payments from any. I was just because I was like, I just need money. You got check, you got cash. I'll take Venmo, I'll take PayPal. I now use every single payment that I send out for any type of event. I use Stripe. It just helped me keep everything way more organized, and I was able to see everything all in one dashboard, essentially how much I was taking. It wasn't like a guessing game anymore. It's like, objectively, here's the data. I mean, even when I send the invoices out and they still pay me somewhere else, I can at least mark it in Stripe saying, hey, I received the money. It just kept me more organized. So now I can make a little bit more educated guesses on what my next years are going to look like, or what months are going to be slow. I live in Arizona, so I mean, it's already assumed that summers are a slower revenue for DJs just because it's so hot and so no one's really hosting events. So, and so that allowed me to branch out and travel during those months as long as there's a guitar center. So if you got a guitar center and you're looking for a DJ, I travel. But even then, when I was doing some light travel, I was also having all of my expenses put on different cards here and there. I wasn't in that, so I decided to open up have a dedicated business account, have dedicated business credit cards, so that anything that's business related, I can just look to those cards, those that checking account, whatever it may be, and I can just like, all right, this is how much I spent. Because again, I was really guessing, and it was kind of like, I think I probably spent 300 to get to that event, when it was really more like 5 or 600. Or I wasn't tracking, for tax purposes, I wasn't tracking like little things like gas and mileage and stuff like that. So I was like, I think maybe spending about $50 on gas and traveled like 60 miles. But it really would have been like 150, 75, $80. And you compound that, I mean, even 10 times, that's in your $800, 800 miles versus so there's a discrepancy there. And so really getting organized with all of your numbers has helped me a ton this year. And that would probably be the biggest thing that I would encourage any business owner to have: some sort of way to keep track of your revenue, your expenses, because that will really come and save you when you are trying to make any type of major financial decisions with your business. So hopefully that helped out someone that's listening.
I like it. Well, all right. So we've hammered home the numbers thing, which we can all also agree on is the least sexy part about improving my business. So let's move over to a tactical thing where we're going to make some assumptions that at the end of the day, where we know we have to actually just take action on something. Maybe I do have data, maybe I don't have any data, and it's just time to just start working. So what might be one of the things that we're going to dive into, and Andrew, I'm going to ask you this one. So my business, I currently want to grow my business. What's the first thing that come to your mind that we're actually going to dive into, rip apart, change? What's the outcome, and why is that going to grow that revenue or ultimately your income in your business?
Such a deep question, and I think that keep this concise. It depends on where people are at in their business development journey. If they're just getting started with coaching, they're going to need some fuck around systems. If they're a little more sophisticated, they're going to need to find out systems. If people try to find out before they fucked around, there's nothing to find out. And so, all that to beautifully say is that if you're within your first 5 to 10 clients, you should probably focus on the systems that are going to understand what your consumer behaviors are, not the industry trends, which already exist. We know that January is going to be a big buying and temperature month for anyone in the coaching industry. We know that April will also, we know that May, depending upon what part of the country you're in, if you're in the United States, kids are getting out. That means that youth athletic sports programs are going to uptick. We know that September is going to be another big time for people that are targeting parents because obviously kids are going back into school and now they have more time. So, you know, those things already exist. You don't need to figure those out necessarily. You need to figure out the people that you like working with. What do they usually do? Where do they usually fall off? What are the obstacles that normally come up? And that's a different data set that leads into growing your revenue unintentionally by virtue of keeping people and delivering better results. But I'd say again, like you should start thinking about your lead gen systems and like all these other acquisition and growth systems after you've probably serviced 3 to 5 people and you're continuing to work with them. Otherwise, if you start trying to throw a lot of people in the till and you try to grow your roster too quickly and you don't have sophisticated systems to allow these people to onboard effectively and efficiently, you're going to struggle to keep them, which is going to A, then really jack up your industry reputation amongst your local community and the people that you're marketing to. And B, it'll really just fuck you up mentally. So that's where I say, like, some kind of program delivery system is usually the first thing that you can probably invest in that will improve the quality of your business outcomes, such as, True Coach, Trainerize, Everfit, Train Heroic. There's so many different platforms. They all have different capabilities in there that you just want to go and research. But beyond that, once you hit the 5 to 10, you're probably going to want to look at a CRM. And that means like go high level. It means not like HubSpot because it seems like it's a little more of a bigger organization slash enterprise type thing. But, at that point, that's where I think, Steve, you'd be able to answer those a lot more effectively in terms of how to manage that growth and scale. Um, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
So for me, the point in time, which is going to be a little bit arbitrary and different for everybody, that we need to start to introduce some of these other tech platforms is going to depend. So
Mhm,
CRM, customer relationship management software, right? Think
mhm,
of it as the email marketing platform for your business, and you track your leads and just make sure everybody gets followed up with, right? It's
mhm,
the master follow-upper, and just make
mhm,
sure that stuff gets done because you spent time and or money to obtain that lead, that contact. You don't want to just flush it down the toilet. There's so many times where it's like, oh, are you following up with your leads? Well, not really. How much time did you spend getting that lead? How much content did you create? How much whatever you did? Or did you spend money, ads, things like that? Those all add up, obviously. So, but for me, there's this equilibrium point that hits where in the beginning of your business you are all focused on marketing and sales because you have nobody to service. Then people come into the business, you start selling people your service, and now you get to start servicing them.
mhm,
All of us have 100% capacity capabilities, and we might be able to hit red line overdrive for a period of time and do 110 115% for a period of time, but
mhm,
that's not going to last forever. That's going to cause burnout. We covered that. Go listen to that prior episode if you're interested, if you're finding that. But let's assume everybody has that 100% capacity, and in that 100%, you can only do so many things. Now, business owners, entrepreneurs, magically, we go and we want to not work for somebody else so we can work 80 hours for ourselves. So let's just say you are at 100% capacity working somewhere between 60 to 80 hours. Well, once we start to hit this point where in order to grow your business by 5 people, you had to market and sell your business for 60 hours a week. The moment you end up having to service delivery, kind of that level of commitment and engage with these clients more than 20 hours. So we now go from 60 hours up to 80 hours in that week. And this is somebody who's excited and loves their business. We start taking away from that marketing and sales side of our bucket of what our capacity is, of what we're able to do. Now, all of a sudden, we go from 60 down to 55, down to 50, down to 40. And all of a sudden, our efforts, now we're still at 100%. We're still redlining this thing. We're servicing people. They're getting some results. But now all of a sudden, what happens is we don't get 5 new clients anymore because it initially took us 60 hours of work to get 5 clients. And now I'm only putting in 40 hours of work. And if it's a true one-to-one, now you're going to get 3 point something clients on average per month or whatever our time frame is. But you're all of a sudden going to go, oh, crap. I need to go and get more clients. So what are you going to do? You're going to steal from your delivering services time. You're not going to pay as much attention to your clients. They're not going to get the potential results that they could,
Mm-hmm.
and retention is going to decrease. Your attrition or your turnover is going to increase, and the referrals are going to decrease. But now you're getting more clients in the door and you're spending a lot of energy. You bring that back up to your 60 hours and you go back to getting 5 people per month. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I got to maintain this because I got all these people churning out and leaving. And when we hit that point where like I can't go anymore somewhere, I need to find a way to create the efficiency. So how do I turn my 60 hours of marketing effort down to 40 but still produce the same output? That's that point in time where we should start to put a CRM in place. Now, everybody's different. To put a hard number on it, I think your gut feeling, Andrew, is probably correct. That somewhere in that 10 to 15 range is when it's going to happen. And don't mistake this for don't track data because you don't have a CRM. Like you should still have a
Mm-hmm.
spreadsheet or something that the data is going into, please. But I don't want you to get bogged down with all this tech and trying to create this cool system before it's time to solve that problem. Unless you've been there, done that, and you can get a CRM and zaps and landing pages up and running in a day, like go for it. But if it's a first time and I have no idea and like I don't know what many chats is and how to make that thing happen, like don't touch those things because all it is going to be a distraction and cause you to move slower. So, yes, the tech side has to come at how do I increase my ability to deliver on the thing I need to deliver on? So, service delivery or marketing and sales. It needs to make you be able to do more work in the same or maybe even a less amount of time so you can then spend time doing other things. Kind of like ChatGPT using AI in general. Don't use it to replace the work, use it to make yourself a little bit more enhanced, make it more efficient for yourself. So, adding a CRM, I think that's a big thing. Uh, but I think jumping to kind of the next thing that I might do is if you have that CRM, I would to every single person who hasn't purchased, because entrepreneurial lead syndrome is a real thing. It is a diagnosable, in my opinion, very unprofessional opinion, disease that every business owner faces. Okay. And this disease is slowly killing business owners. ELS. It is slowly killing business owners because you spend all this time and all this money to get this contact information. And then the first of the month rolls around, and in your mind, you're at 0 leads again, and you have to get
Mm-hmm.
all new leads. But what about the leads you got last month that didn't say yes yet? We know that not everybody is looking to buy right now. They're just investigating. We know that not everybody is even solution or problem aware, right? They don't know you even exist or they don't even know that they have a problem right now. So, your job, if you believe in what you do, your duty, your responsibility is to actually be there when they're ready for you. How do you do that? You create some type of connection by continually talking to them. Don't be annoying. I'm not telling you to email them and call them 15 times a day, but I am suggesting you send a newsletter once or twice a week. You communicate with them and you let them know that you're there, you're a professional, and you can help solve their problem when they're ready, right? So, what do? If you've never done that before, you've never emailed people, Don't start off with, hey, come buy things from me, because you don't have a relationship. But give them some type of value where they're at, meet them where they're at. Everybody wants to lose weight. There's nobody on this planet that wants to gain more fat. Like, we can all agree that everybody wants to lose fat.
Uh,
Mm,
A majority of people want to lose fat. Okay. Okay. But from that perspective, says the two guy who's more in nutrition and fitness
listen,
over there. Here's the business guy.
we're smaller guys. We need to be bigger, whatever it
So,
takes.
but from that perspective, don't go out, hey, I help people lose weight. You don't stand out. How do you make people lose weight? What is your unique mechanism that gets people to lose weight? Why are you special? Why do you matter? And talk about that thing, not in such a way that you want them to spend money with you, but in such a way that you're there to solve the problem when they're ready for it. We can dive into the details on that later or another episode, but start communicating with the people you haven't been communicating with, because I know you're not. ELS is a real thing. We need to end ELS.
You guys heard it from the business doctor, BD Steve Cobshaw.
BDS, Business Doctor Steve. We need to end ELS. I feel like that should be a t-shirt. That should totally be a t-shirt.
That sounds a little bit like Latter-day Saints. I don't know. I feel like we get a target on our back with that one.
I mean, we can make it make it interesting.
Can we make it great again?
We we're definitely going to make it great again.
This is starting to hit a little bit. Rough night.
There we go. Some coffee. But all right, so Brandon, circling back to you. So we've established the idea of data. We've kind of put down when systems start to need to be a thing here. We want to end ELS because we know that that's a really good opportunity to communicate with people we haven't communicated with. What might be the next thing in your toolbox that you're going to go down the road of, hey, I want to enhance, improve my business? What does that look like for you? What's the next thing that comes up?
I guess for me, the next thing that would come up is service delivery. Um, what you're providing align or match with what you are selling, because especially in my side of the industry, again going back to DJing, I have maybe 10 off the top of my head friends slash acquaintances that say they're DJs, and to the average person, you would all assume, okay, they're all to a degree at a certain baseline. I got one kid, he's running around saying he's a DJ. He's one year he said, I can't believe I DJed 54 weddings. Like, how did you do that? How did you DJ a wedding every single weekend? I'm assuming that was an exaggerated number, but he runs around with his iPhone and a Spotify playlist, and he is going around saying he's a DJ. Now, it pisses me off.
I love it.
Pisses me off so much. And then I also have another
But
guy.
hold on. Do people pay him for his iPhone and his Spotify playlist?
I think so. I don't know how much he charges though. I'd be
$50,
flabbergasted.
that's how you get 54.
But does he get paid?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know if he's like that. Like, he just knows a lot. He does know a lot of people, so I don't know if it's like a favor type of thing.
Right.
He's a really extroverted guy. I don't know. So that's one
He
thing.
owed 54 favors in 1 year.
We'll assume, but yeah, still
We'll just
54
assume
weddings.
he's
It's
honest.
50
All
bucks.
right. So he created a business.
Yeah,
We might not like it.
Yeah.
We might not like it. We might make some comments, but he's
Yeah.
making money off of an iPhone and a Spotify playlist.
Tarnish is the name of DJs.
I'm just saying. But anyways, keep going,
Brandon.
And then I got another friend, and he has a full-on setup. Like, I don't set up. I even tell people, I'm like, this is too much. I don't have a video wall. I don't have, 5, 6 subwoofers. This guy literally, he rents full-on semi trucks to bring the equipment and stuff like that, because it's a full-on staging type of thing. He's good. I do like him. DJing is a little iffy, but that's what he's getting hired for, is for the performance piece and kind of the go big type thing. So DJing's a little weak. And then there's me kind of in that middle of the ground. And I really do think I deliver on what I am selling. That guy DJing on his iPhone, don't think so. If I've actually heard some negative reviews too from people that didn't know him. He was like a referral. People are like, what is going on? Why is he, where's his stuff? Same thing with the other side too. There were, he over delivered on the performance, but there's a little bit of a discrepancy with the music that they weren't happy with, and they was like, oh, you didn't, play the right stuff. Kind of right there, Goldilocks, right there, just right. And I really think that's what's allowed me to kind of keep these relationships over the years, and that's also why I don't think I've ever had to spend money on advertisement, because I just go off of referrals. Again, very different from like the health and fitness sphere, where referrals again are really important, but you have a and that's why I think social media is really important, because you can show off the wins and the progress that you've been able to help people with. With DJing, it's like, hey, yeah, but anyone can press play. Did you even mix this? That type of thing. Different industries, but with all that to be said, you really just have to be able to deliver on what you're selling, because and that's also why sometimes you'll see with businesses that have a sales team, and it's actually happened to me in a marketing agency I used to work at. Our sales team would oversell packages, and we would the creative team, they get the scope, and like we undercharged like $20,000-$30,000. We had to go back to the client and either tell them we have to reduce this on their project, or we have to charge them the extra 20, 30. And so when I was there for the year, we ran into that issue where every single client was okay with paying in the end, but our head guy was like, we can't keep doing this, because there's going to be a time where someone's like, you said it was going to cost, I don't know, 100K. Now you're telling me it's going to cost 130K. I'm out, type of thing. And then, I don't know how the contracts work with all that. Are we out 100K? Do you get X amount? But with all that, all those stories to say is just, yeah, if you're gonna say something, you better deliver, if not over deliver, because at the end of the day, you need clients in order to be successful. And I think any business that you have, unless you start tailoring to like AI bots in the future, but I really like the Matrix movies. So because the robots.
Those things are freaky squids, dude.
Yeah.
So Andrew, what's next on your list here? What do you think we need to be thinking about?
Hmm. I mean, when we went through those 23,000 coaches, a lot of the questions that always would come up is, how do I get my first client? And I think that before people start to refine and, because you mentioned something earlier and we were trying to get in the tactical items here. Um, and I think it warrants discussion in that until you figure out your process, a lot of people are trying to skip through those things and they're trying to create automations, which is why they're like, well, how do I create a landing page? And how do I establish Zaps? And how do I use ManyChat? And a lot of that stuff is, again, they have no coaching system in place in the beginning. So they're trying to automate business practices based upon poor delivery or non-existent delivery principles and or protocols. So I think that, again, just getting crystal clear and doing what you did to get your first paying client repeatedly for the first 5 is a great way to really start to turn the engine a little bit and see what works and what didn't work. But I think too, it's like revisiting data for a second. I think a lot of people will wait until the last minute when they have a problem before they start knowing what to collect. And if I were to suggest a couple things for people to pay attention to, initially it would be like top line revenue. It would be how long you keep your clients, or something called lifetime value, which is effectively how long that client has been with you times the number of billable days. So if you bill weekly, if you bill monthly, if you bill daily for some reason, maybe you do an annual PIF. Like there's a lot of different ways, but you just multiply those two. And that's where you start to realize that not all clients are equal, because you may find that the ones that stick with you longer tend to refer you. So you kind of want to add a multiple to them and ultimately really bend over backwards to service them. Even if they are paying a little bit cheaper of a rate than some of your newer clients might be. But I would say that those are probably the two things of you want to pay attention to: how much money you're making, how much money you're keeping, how long your clients are staying with you, and how much they're spending on average. And that's one of the things that a lot of new coaches and new business owners will be really impatient with, or they won't realize that there's value in that until someone like Steve comes along and is like, hey, how long have you kept your clients? Because if you're spending $1,000 across 6 months to net one client, and that client only stays with you for 4 months and they barely pay you 800 across those 4 months, now it's effectively costing you $200. And again, this is greatly exaggerated and hyperbolic, but it costs you substantially more to acquire a client than it does, um, then probably is worth it at that point. You're literally losing money. And I heard that someone said something really smart when I was in my early 20s. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And so, if you make $10,000 a month, but you spend 10K, you're at zero. So it doesn't matter what your top line revenue is. And I think that's where margins matter as you start to get more sophisticated, as you start to think about how do I make more money? Well, you're going to either have to increase your prices, increase your availability, or scale by virtue of building a team that can replicate and deliver a similar quality outcome. So those are the things that I think if I were to pay attention to, how do you keep your clients longer? So you have to find less clients, right? And I think that that's the mentality from a referral based system that I taught a lot of trainers. Like I think it was like 30, 40 trainers, while I was managing at Lifetime, and it worked really well in terms of they never had to go out and try to find more clients necessarily. They would always lead generate a little bit, but we're talking about like 10% of their conscious bandwidth being allocated towards that, and 90% actually getting to do the coaching based upon the systems they know to work. And that became very attractive to the people that were like, oh, you're not trying to market to me, you're not trying to sell me, you have a full book. People want what they can't have, and by virtue of being a perceived successful coach, by virtue of talking about your clients and the lessons that you learn and the delivery and the wins that you're getting from those deliveries, I think that really creates a positive environment and a lot of great positive psychological momentum for fitness professionals or healthcare professionals or really just anyone that's influencing behavior. Is you want to know that what you're doing is good work, not just because your business needs more money or more revenue, but rather so that way you feel validated as a professional in that space. Because I promise you, the fastest way to the bottom is to have that imposter syndrome take hold and start to erode your confidence. And that will then literally eat away at your ability to deliver great quality information and service to your client who's telling you what they need, but you can't hear it because you're trying
So
to prove how valuable
the
you
one
are.
thing that you mentioned
So,
through there that kind of stood out to me and it's kind of funny is the idea of margins matter, right? And it doesn't matter how much money you make, but rather how much money you keep on the back end of it. And I think the fun thing could be,
yeah.
make margins matter again. Just
Yeah.
something
Hey.
entertaining there. A good
Hmm.
shirt or hat to play for sure. But margins are the thing that matter, and that's where a lot of times people go and invest in these big expensive businesses
Hmm.
by way of adding in all of this tech, by way of adding in all these systems, by
Yeah.
hiring all these people early, and you erode your margins out of the gates and you put yourself in this spot where, oh, I need to go generate more top line to just simply pay for the bottom line. Or you don't even realize that you're putting yourself into this hole. So, great example is, let's say you charge the average person, for easy math, $100 per month for your services, right? And I'm not saying you should, that's way too cheap, but let's just, for easy math, we'll use that number. So $100 per month per services, and then they're going to sign on for 6 months. Well, it's $600. Now you turn around, wow, hey, because I saw it somewhere, I'm going to actually give them a discount if they sign up and pay in full for 6 months. So I'm going to give it to them for $500. Amazing. Well, if you take that $500 or even that $100 a month times 6 months for six, over the course of a period of time, and it's $600, and you use it all up in month one. So I pay you in full $500 for 6 months worth of services. And now all of a sudden you use it on month one to pay people, to pay for marketing, to pay for an assistant coach, for your CRM, for your landing pages, for your ads, whatever it is. Now all of a sudden, month two, you have no money for that person. So you have to go sell somebody else just to be able to pay for that first person. This is inherently a Ponzi scheme. Now, it's accidental. It's not like you're really trying to do this. But if you go down this road of spending the money too quickly, all of a sudden you run into this problem. And what I hear a lot of people saying is that brings up to this debate of, are paid in fulls or monthlies better, or certain types of payment structure plans just better? The reality is there are advantages and disadvantages to both. And the disadvantages are more so, I'd like to be framed as, what do you want to manage? If you like managing, if you're good with money and you want to manage your money, get paid in fulls, because you're not going to go spend it stupidly before that person has earned that revenue per se, or before you've earned that revenue. But if
Mhm.
you're bad with money, monthlies are better because it doesn't allow you to spend the money. That said, for your business, it overly, over a period of time, is irrelevant which way you do it, until you have enough data that says to me, oh, Steve, well, on average, when people purchase a paid in full for 1 year, they stay for 1 year and 20% of them repurchase. Okay, great. But when they pay monthly, they only stay 9.7 months on average. Well, yeah, you should get the paid in full and get them to stay for a year and have those 20% of people renew, because that's going to be more money for your business in that period of time. Now, I might ask the question, service delivery, et cetera, why aren't they staying longer on the monthly? And that's a whole different question. But make sure you're managing your money. So, I guess the point I'm trying to make here for you is manage your money in your business, because chances are a lot of times where you're feeling a financial pinch is because of some type of mismanagement of money or not understanding how it's supposed to work for your business.
Yeah.
Now, moving kind of from there, let's focus specifically on, call it, a lead acquisition or sales side of our house, because as a group we are traditionally a service delivery heavy group of people, and we believe if you can get every client to retain, so get them to buy at least one more round with you and refer one person, you will have a successful business, right? That's, we all believe that. But let's forget the service delivery and kind of lifetime value thing for a moment. Let's go down this road of, I just simply need to generate money right now. I don't care what I did wrong. I don't care what the data says. I need leads and I need sales. Just, it is what it is. Okay. What is one thing that you might do? And I'll go ahead and answer first on this one while you guys are just putting the words into play. What is one thing that you would do to generate money in the next 5 to 7 days for your business? Here's the first thing that I would do. I would go to every single one of my existing clients and give them some type of offer that is appealing to them for them to go ahead and renew their services with me. That is the first thing I would do to generate money if my business needed to generate money right now. Brandon, what
Mhm.
what would you do?
Yeah, I think definitely would reach out to my immediate network or past people I have worked with and see if, what they need and see if we can provide something for them immediately. Oh, but I've never been in that spot where it's like, oh, I need something in 5 to 7 days. It's more for me, it's been always like a month or two, but which kind of takes us back to that last point about taking monthly versus immediate payment. Like at least for DJing, I hate taking immediate payments because if I got paid and I haven't provided a service yet, it's like, I don't like that. But I was in a spot where I actually had to do that, and it's a couple months ago where it's like then they were willing to, and so I took the money up front. I still have to do the event, but in order to stay afloat, I needed that. So again, that was just piggybacking off of your old point. But yeah, I think it would be just reach out immediately, see what needs that they have that they need to be filled. Um, if you have different skill sets too, it's something that I think you can also try and leverage. For me, if I was in this spot, like, hey, do you need anything done with your social media? Hey, do you need anything with photography, videography? Do you need anything with nutrition? Are you looking for a training program or anything like that? And just try to, again, provide that value to someone that they may, that will help them. You don't want to go around and say like, I can do this, I can X, Y, and Z. You can't, and you want to charge money. But yeah, reaching out to your immediate network, I think, will be your best bet. If you don't have that, try your, you have in junior high, high school, you have your friends, you got your best friends. They couldn't hang out with you. You got your next level of friends. You like hanging out with them, but they're not your first choice. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that when it comes to um, sales and needing money immediately. How I
Sure.
look at it, that's how I can compare it.
I
Maybe
like it.
all your friends are your best friends. So
No, definitely not. Definitely not. All right, Andrew, you need to find a way to generate money for your business in the next 5 to 7 days. What are you doing?
Foot finder.
I I'm sitting here and in my mind I'm like, please cycle through the first 80 things that come to your mind to say and get to the right answer at 81.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very different. Um, because I've been coaching for so long, it's if I ever, needed to generate that, I would just go through an old client list and I mean that thing extends 10 to 20 years. But yeah, I mean it's and I think Pete Dupree over at Cressy Sports Performance, he's their business guy, and he brought up, in one of his talks at one point that it's okay to reach out to old clients and say like, hey, you know, hope you've been well. Would love to know what you're doing with your fitness. And if you're not doing anything, would love to help get you set up. It's really that simple. And you do that enough times. And, the longer you're around as a coach, oddly enough, there's this way that if you're a personal trainer in a brick and mortar business and you have other personal trainers you work with, one of the ways that I've seen people grow their businesses is to simply absorb trainers that are leaving's book of business. So over time, this is where the more people you service, the more people you come into contact with, the longer you have tenure in the industry, the more of a brand and a staple and a name you establish for yourself, which is why I'm a big fan of doing brick and mortar stuff, because you become renowned in a specific location. And that's where referrals never really become an issue. But yeah, I mean, this is where having a CRM or having some way of collecting names, and ways to contact people, whether that's via phone call, text message, which, certain people don't really much care for text. And I'm pretty sure that people get in trouble for sending text, but, email lists, even your social media following, all that stuff is just, if you've cultivated enough goodwill and you've done a good job for long enough, it's pretty easy to just reach out and say, hey, would love to help you if you don't have anything currently going on. We all know that we could use some help and support. So that would be the first way. The second way would be having a webinar launch. And the third way would be having a corporate learn and lunch, lunch and learn. And the fourth way would be having joint venture partnerships with local medical providers, which I deal a lot with anti-aging and wellness. And so those people are definitely coinciding with my target demographic. They don't have time. I have time. And so we have a similar vernacular from the medical model that makes the conversation usually pretty easy. So, but as I've grown over the years, I no longer really do base level coaching. So as my price point has gone up, it now decreases the people that would qualify or that would be able to be a good fit for me as a coach. So yeah, just the four things that I would do. Old clients first, or social media lists, just cold DM people, honestly enough. That works, but it's a numbers game and you got to be able to just probably get blocked and get reported a couple times.
Yeah, it might happen. Yeah, you might lose your account, but it
You
is
might.
100% a thing that can be done for sure. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I
Or
mean,
get a
I
Filipino VA.
like, what was that?
I said, or get a Filipino VA to do it from their account so they don't block yours.
let's 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 not do that. I mean, maybe, but not exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I think you bring up two great options here where the top, like, big high level ones is contact people who have already paid you for services that have that relationship with you, who are no longer in services, and see if they're in need of continued services, re-engagement, or whatever it might be. And then start attacking your lists. You have an audience that you probably haven't made an offer to in a long time, or people who just haven't seen it, and see what the appetite for said offer might be. Would be the high level ones. I love the JV stuff, obviously, and things like that for sure. But I think those are the ones that I would take away. So wrapping that kind of piece up, we need to generate money in the next 5 to 7 days. I'm going to go to make an offer to my existing clients. Then I'm going to make an offer to basically my closest network Then I'm going to go find people who have already paid me for services, but they're not currently engaged in services. And then outside of that, my extended network is going to be the next thing I'm going to tackle to try to bring money in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just as a quick forewarning, because sometimes I feel like this goes unsaid, when you force or get people to buy something on fire sale ish on any level, we're running this cash thing and trying to get the injection. You are solving today's problem, but you are punting that problem down to the future.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you go sell everybody things that are going to last for 90 days, this problem is going to come back in 60 to 90 days. So just because you solved your I need money in the next 5 to 7 days, it does not mean the actual underlying root cause of the problem
Mm-hmm.
is solved. It is
Mm-hmm.
not something that's going to cause this thing to go away. It gives you breathing room. That is the only thing that you got through this. And a lot of times you hear it, you see it on the internet, 10 clients, 10 days, get them in now, cash frameworks, all these things. They are extremely useful when used correctly, but the problem will still exist and we need to make sure we know that. So I'm just throwing that out there because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want somebody to go with this blind, solve the problem and think it's actually solved. No, you solved it for the next month. So,
Mm-hmm.
but as we start kicking up against time here, gents, we want to improve our business. What are some of your kind of final things you might add to this repertoire of how can I improve my business that we've talked about a little bit? And I think Andrew, I'm gonna throw it your way first on this one, and then Brandon, I'll kick it over to you after that, dude.
Man, I could just get one thing. If I were to say, and again, like I tend to love the people that are under 10 to 20 clients. Like getting people up and running is largely a function of their education and the quality of their education. Because if they don't know how to coach, they're not confident, and they don't know how to apply the education, the business long term is going to fall apart. And we had a guy that at one point sold his car for a business coaching program to afford it. Right. And this is not tongue in cheek. This is not to be funny. It was a very expensive coaching program. Sold his car, and the coaching program did nothing to help this person's coaching competencies outside of giving them access to online education. And they repetitively, the coaching was often to focus on getting more clients. Well, he would get clients and he would lose clients. And oftentimes he would lose more clients every month than he would gain. And there was no data management on behalf of the coach. Like there was a lack of really care or attention given to that individual. And so I would say that knowing what skills and what knowledge to prioritize depending upon where you are in your client journey and your client pipeline. 0 to 10, focus and reinvest heavily in the quality of your coaching and education. And I would say more than anything, get 1 or 2 baseline certifications, probably a fitness one, probably a nutrition one, or at the Beyond Education University, which is launching soon. It's a shameless plug. But get some baseline education so you have a foundational system, and then go find a mentor, right? As someone that's spent way too much money on 3 different degrees and over 70 different certifications at this point, I would say go find a mentor versus trying to learn as much as you can. It takes too long, and a mentor will help you focus and give you the relevant information at the right time. So those would be the 2 things that I would say: get baseline educated, and then at the same time, go find someone to handhold you a little bit during your first 6 to 12 months. Because I promise you, if you don't feel like you're qualified as a professional, nothing is going to do better for your mindset and your mental health and your peace of mind than having someone that's there to be in your corner and help point you in the right direction. Not spoon feed you the right answers, but to maybe help you ask better questions, because you got to get comfortable with uncertainty in this industry and with knowing the right thing and having a I have to do this, or it's not going. Like there is no definitives inside of the entrepreneurial world, and that's the hard part that I think a lot of people really struggle with. So get your mind right, get a mentor, get a little bit educated, and then let the next step unfold as you go through.
Love it. Brandon, what do you got?
Yeah, and for me, I think mentor definitely, but Andrew already talked on that, so but
Mhm.
let's just say +1 on that one from me.
Everyone,
Like
But
like
everyone,
like
yeah.
But, I'd also would say, yeah, it's okay to start slow and really just understand the fundamentals in your industry. So you like, I mean, you give it even with the, we talked about social media DMs, how you would make money in 5 to 7 days immediately, and I've been the recipient of that, where I would have people slide into my DMs. You guys have probably seen these too, where it's like, "I'm a web developer and can help you," and I'm like, "Who are you? I have no relationship to you. I don't even know how you found me. You are a Filipino VA getting paid to do this." Like, and so even if you are, you're sending out stuff like that, if you don't have the fundamentals in play, because great, you're sending that DM out, how are you going to deliver on that? And I think as long as you are getting your systems in order, you'll be organized. You'll be able to just have a little bit more of a foundation to go off of, and that'll allow you to set up for success. Because, yeah, I mean, learn from me, at least from the financial side, I was all over the place. I was just throwing out numbers. Someone would be like, "How much you do this month?" I don't know, maybe this. And it's bad in the books, and tax season ain't no joke. So make sure, yeah, that's something we don't
Yeah,
talk
they'll
about,
fuck you
but
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You want to
They'll
make sure
fuck
you
you
take care of that stuff.
up.
So
Oh,
take care of the
man.
foundations before you start adding like, I can get you to lose 5 pounds in 5 weeks if you follow my I don't know, trademark method. You don't
They
want
don't
any. You don't
nobody
have any.
trademarks anything.
You never even. You don't have any social proof either. There's nothing on your account. You have like 5 followers. I like, work up to that. If you had like a whole page and you're like, what's his name?
Man.
Steve Cook did that. Steve Cook slid in my DM. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up. But he has that proof. So start slow, build your way up, and I think you'll be able to take advantage of some of those more generic tactics. Foundations.
All right.
I don't like that word though.
Steve?
Anyway,
No foundations.
too late.
The
It's too late.
base, the
Yeah,
base.
the basis.
Um, so here's my thought. Before you start running in your business, because once you start running, I promise you, you're never going to actually slow down and build out
Mhm.
your business plan. And when I say build out your business plan, take 2 hours of time and just write down what you want to build and why. Why are you building this thing? And there's a very generic idea that, hey, I'm going to open my own business and I want to bring home $10,000 a month. It's an easy number. It's what everybody reverts to. The hard reality is there's not that many people that need literally $10,000 a month to make their life work. It's some number bigger, some number smaller. It's just an easy number because nobody goes through the exercise. But before you start your business, and if you've already started and you're kind of running into things, what exactly do you need to do to get out of your hole or to get to the spot where you actually love your business and you're doing the thing that you want to do? Use one of the things we've already spoken about if you need to generate money right now because of XYZ reason, but no, you didn't solve the problem. Slow down for 2 hours. What am I trying to build and why? Why does it matter? What problems in my life does it solve? How do I feel if I don't solve it? And how do I feel on the other side of me solving this? Those things seem small, but write these down and figure out what you want your business to look like. If you want to grow a business to have 23 clients paying $417 a month and stay with you on average for 6 months, so you know that every single month you only need to worry about getting 3 to 4 new clients to replace the ones that you're losing, one of which comes by referrals, which means you only need 2 more. And now you know for every 15 conversations, you get 1 client to join, which means you need 30 conversations, which means you need to make 1 new conversation per day to sign up 1 person every 2 weeks or 2 people per month, plus your 1 referral, which means now all of a sudden your business is working and you're doing what you need to do. I'm not saying this to make sure you can keep tracking with it, but I'm just throwing it out there. All of a sudden, now you know with certainty every single day I need to do this thing and this thing and this thing. And I will have my 23 people paying me my 400 and change dollars per month, which means I'll be able to take home my $10,000, which means I have $3,872 left for all my expenses, which is probably slightly more than I need, but I'd rather buffer and just be safe. And don't hire anybody until you've solved that thing. Don't do it. Don't go down that road of, oh, I don't like doing this thing anymore. Cool. Do you like money? Or do you like being stressed? Which one? Which one do you like? You
It's
want to
not
be a
what you
little
make,
overworked?
you keep.
Go be a little overworked. There are things that you have to give up. I'm not saying business is easy. There are things you have to give up. And in this case, it's usually time. But figure out why you're doing what you're doing so you can then build a plan and execute it. And then when you're executing the plan, it's way easier to execute that plan when you know why it's the plan and you believe that it solves the problem that you set out to solve to begin with. And don't give me the bullshit that you're passionate and just want to help people. If that's the case, go walk down Main Street and give everybody everything for free. You're in business because you have to make money, because we all have to make money in order to survive and do the things we want to do. So figure out that number and go build a business that serves that purpose. Then figure out if you want to be a 7-figure, an 8-figure coach and have a team and do all of these other things. Once you solve your I need to live problem, now we can talk about growing a really big business. That is my TED talk. I wish I had a microphone to drop, but I'm done.
Matter of fact, we actually have something for that. So if you are someone that doesn't really have a set of systems, we have a spreadsheet that we've used to help people identify their rosters and look at their billables. And you know, if you guys are super nice, and I'll tell you what, if you comment below what your thoughts and what your struggles are as a new business owner, we're going to send you the resource, and we're going to send you a link to a training that we're going to conduct here in about 3 weeks. And we'll go over this resource. It's really helpful for a lot of people that may not have a CRM, just to understand, and something that I've used and implemented with thousands of coaches at this point. So, you know, again, just comment below and we'll make sure you get the invite.
All right, gang. Well, appreciate you tuning in today. Hopefully, you got at least one nugget on how to go do what you need to do right now, but also think big picture.
Hmm.
Start with the data. If you want more information on building that business, growing that business, solving that business problem, comment below as well. Let us know what problem you're facing so we can break that down, and might even be able to get us to hop on a call so we can dive into it a little bit more. So make that mention on there. Like, rate, subscribe, please share,
Share,
and
share.
let us help you help more people. And again, thanks for joining in and spending some time with us today.